we are tracking a significant and developing situation emerging from the Middle East, specifically involving United States assets in Kuwait City. Reports just coming into our newsroom indicate a troubling incident near the United States Embassy in Kuwait, where heavy smoke has been observed rising from the area. Defense officials on the ground are now confirming that this is related to the crash of several United States warplanes. While the visuals are concerning, the preliminary reports from military sources offer a crucial silver lining. The officials state that the pilots involved were successfully able to eject themselves from the aircraft. As of this moment, no serious injuries have been reported among the aircrews. It is important to note that this information is preliminary and the situation is fluid. We are monitoring the wires closely and will provide updates on the condition of the pilot and the cause of these crashes as soon as verified details become available. Simultaneously, we are shifting our focus to the Levant, where the aftermath of the recent exchange of fire continues to unfold. We are seeing fresh images of the damage sustained in Israel following a series of retaliatory attacks launched by Iran. The human cost of this escalation is becoming clearer, with reports confirming 9 deaths just yesterday, alongside several people sustaining injuries. This comes as the region braces for potential further volleys. In Washington, the reaction has been swift and severe. President Donald Trump has issued a stark statement declaring that the United States will avenge the deaths of 3 American service members who were killed during the ongoing conflict with Iran. In a video statement released on Sunday via Truth Social, the president outlined the scope of the current military campaign, known as Operation Epic Fury. He indicated that this operation, which commenced on Saturday morning, could continue for a duration of up to 5 weeks. This timeline suggests a sustained and deliberate campaign rather than a single punitive strike. The president, having returned to the White House last night, honored the fallen. In his address, he referred to the 3 service members who lost their lives as true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. However, in a somber admission of the reality of war, the president added that, sadly, there will likely be more casualties before this operation concludes, stating simply that is the way it is. The president also provided a specific update on the damage inflicted upon Iranian naval capabilities. He detailed that 9 ships, in addition to a naval building, were destroyed in a matter of literally minutes. Furthermore, he addressed the leadership vacuum in Tehran, confirming that Iran's former supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. The president described him in strong terms, stating the leader had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands, and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people across many countries. Regarding the American casualties, United States Central Command officially reported on Sunday that 3 service members were killed and 5 others were injured amid the initial phases of this operation. To provide further clarity on the strategic objectives and the status of the force, we are expecting a major briefing shortly. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Rice-Kane, are scheduled to hold a joint news conference. This is set for 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and it is expected to provide the most comprehensive look at the operation to date. To help us analyze the strategic implications of these developments, we turn to the insights of Peter Duran from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. When analyzing the scale of Operation Epic Fury, it is becoming evident that this is a departure from limited skirmishes. As Duran notes, if the president was presented with 3 options, categorized as small, medium, and large, he unequivocally chose the large option going into the weekend. Many military experts had speculated that the administration might attempt to repeat the scope of Operation Midnight Hammer, a limited operation conducted during the summer of last year that was tailored specifically to degrade Iran's nuclear weapons program. However, the current reality on the ground shows that President Trump, in close coordination with Israel, opted for a maximalist approach. This includes a decapitation strike targeting the regime's leadership. This shift is critical because, as Duran points out, the clerical regime in Tehran is now operating with a significantly depleted command structure. What remains of the leadership is not the A team, nor even the B team. We are looking at the lower end of the C team regarding the experience and authority left in command. The current strategy we are witnessing from Tehran, characterized by lashing out against its Gulf and Middle Eastern neighbors, likely reflects this void. We are no longer dealing with the seasoned professionals of the regime, as most of them have been eliminated. As we await the upcoming briefing from Secretary Hegseth and General Kane, the key indicator of success will go beyond the elimination of the supreme leader. The pending battle damage assessments from the Pentagon Pentagon will be the critical metric to determine if the strategic objectives of Operation Epic Fury have been met and what the next 5 weeks may hold for the region. President Trump has already provided a definitive indication regarding the measure of success achieved thus far. His recent comments on the operational timeline suggest that the campaign is proceeding not only according to plan, but arguably better than initial strategic assessments anticipated. This represents a significant positive development for the United States, for Israel, and ultimately, for the people of Iran themselves. The catalyst for this success was a tactical error of immense proportions by the regime. The supreme leader had gathered all of his closest advisors, the absolute top of the food chain as intelligence officials described them, into a single location, in a move that suggests a profound level of overconfidence, perhaps bordering on arrogance. They believed they could conduct such a high-level gathering during daylight hours without consequence. This assumption proved fatal. The United States and Israel demonstrated a capability that transcends standard operational doctrine. Our forces proved they are not limited to the cover of night. They took the unusual and highly risky step of operating in broad daylight. In one fell swoop, they achieved the majority of their initial operational goal. The strike resulted in the elimination not just of the supreme leader himself, but also approximately 40 of the regime's top brass. This effectively decapitated the leadership structure. The subsequent reaction from what remains of the regime in Tehran demonstrates a distinct lack of situational awareness. To put it bluntly, they do not appear to have a clue how to respond effectively. If one were to analyze their current behavior, it appears Iran is pursuing a perfect strategy for self-isolation. If the goal is to alienate fence-sitters and neutral countries, and even agitate potential partners, as evidenced by the recent statement from China, then they are succeeding. Their strategy seems designed to encourage the world to bandwagon with the United States and Israel, a scenario that would have seemed improbable just weeks ago. This is a catastrophic strategic mistake on their part. We are already seeing concrete indications from European allies and other global observers that Iran's lash-out strategy, targeting civilians and infrastructure in the Gulf, is failing. None of this is working to their advantage. Instead of rallying support, they are making critical errors that will likely speed up the conclusion of this operation rather than prolong it. This brings us to a crucial point regarding the timeline. President Trump recently posted a 6-minute clip on social media, his second major address since the conflict began, where he explicitly stated that Operation Epic Fury could last as long as 5 weeks. To understand why this specific duration was cited, we must look at the legal framework governing American military action. The president is operating with a ticking clock known as the War Powers Act, alongside the authorization for use of military force that Congress approved in the wake of September 11. These statutes essentially grant the commander-in-chief a window of 2 months, or 60 days, to conduct military operations before he is legally required to return to Congress for additional approval. This 60-day window sets the legislative bookends for the campaign. It is becoming increasingly clear that we are not looking at another long, protracted, so-called endless war. General Kane has evidently developed a very clear and focused set of targets. The United States, in tight coordination with Israel, is systematically working through a prioritized target list. This is a methodical dismantling. They are degrading the regime's ability to harm American or Israeli soldiers and airmen. Simultaneously, they are destroying the apparatus the regime uses to oppress and harm its own people. The hierarchy of objectives is distinct. The elimination of the nuclear program and ensuring Iran can never achieve a nuclear weapon is clearly the top goal. However, a close second is providing the Iranian people with the necessary time and space to seize their own destiny and change this government. These objectives, executed in that specific order, benefit the strategic interests of the United States. They certainly benefit Israel and our partners in the Gulf, and to a larger extent, the Europeans.